This week in Digimon Ghost Game, Ryudamon proved himself to be a worthy member of the little subgroup that is Kiyoshiro, Jellymon, and now Ryudamon when he Digivolved in order to save Gammamon and the others. But how did it go down? Was his evolution triggered by a new bond with Kiyoshiro? Did the Digivice Dual V come into play? And why were the enemies this week so intrigued by the bracelets our team wears? And in case you missed it, there are multiple new Digimon game projects coming, with the first one arriving in 4 months in February 2023. We'll explain all that and more in this week's video. Welcome to the Digino episode 48 review and weekly news recap. If you're new to the channel, we cover Digimon on the weekly, so definitely subscribe if that sounds like your kind of thing. I'm also working on a top 10 scariest Digimon episodes ever list for Halloween, and I'd love to get some ideas from you on what the scariest episodes are, not just Ghost Game, but all of Digimon. You know, what scarred you as a kid? If you have an episode or two in mind, comment below to tell me which one, and if I agree, then maybe it'll make the list. Episode 48, The White Bride. Ruli is asked to be a model for a wedding pamphlet and puts on a wedding dress. However, she's suddenly taken. It seems that brides in wedding dresses have been disappearing from local wedding halls. I'm happy to see our boy Ryudamon is both in this episode and is specifically hanging out with Kiyoshiro and Jellymon, just as Espimon is really spending time with Hito and Gammamon. I kind of feel bad now for Airdramon, where that partnership with Ruli and Angoramon is very transactional, like get me to where I need to go. Though I guess Airdramon's size is probably a factor there too. You can't exactly fit Airdramon into a room to hang out the way that Kiyo, Jellymon, and Ryudamon are. The enemy of the week is Shamblemon, which is technically a new Digimon. It's kind of like a variant of Mushroomon, a champion level with spores that will make energy draining mushrooms grow all over your body. At least I think this is a new Digimon. I've never seen it before, and there isn't much online about it. The scene where all of the brides are covered in mushrooms and having them ruthlessly plucked off from their skin is incredibly gross, like pimple popping graduated to a new level. Eventually, Gammamon and Hiro are also infected and covered in shrooms, the same way the brides are, leaving just Angoramon and Espimon on site, with Kiyoshiro and the crew providing remote support. And here's where, out of nowhere, we get something that Ghost Game almost never does, which is a flashback and direct reference to a past episode, specifically Ryudamon being saved by Gammamon back in episode 39, and Ryudamon's desire to save Gammamon in this week's episode helps him Digivolve into Ginryumon right in the middle of Kiyo's room. Luckily, Kiyo is quick enough to switch into the AR field so that Ginryumon's growth didn't destroy the dorm. This is awesome and a pleasant surprise, though noteworthy that it didn't seem to have anything to do with the Digivice with Kiyoshiro. This was Ryudamon evolving based on his bond with another Digimon, not a human, with Gammamon specifically. No need for the Digivice Dual V that we know is coming in real life. Mushroom spores are weak to dry environments, so Kiyo thinks to get them into an open area to even the odds. For some reason, the mushrooms on Ruli and Hiro's bodies are extra potent. The Shamblemon think it has to do with the Digivice Vital Bracelets, and maybe it does, but either way, consuming their shrooms powers up the villains this week. They go for Kiyo next, and it's a real nasty scene. It's almost framed like zombies eating a victim's guts while he's still alive. But for some reason, Kiyo's mushrooms are different and make the Shamblemon feel sick, but when Kiyo eats one of his own mushrooms, he becomes this powered up badass, and we get an amazing evolution scene this week for Tessa Jellymon going into Tedismon. I even saw on Twitter this great comment that Kiyo's animation here in the green is very similar to Henry's look in Digimon Tamers, especially in the opening animation for that show. Just a cool visual callback. Tesla Jellymon talks about getting charged too much, but it's more in a hype way than like an evolution overload. It's not that thing that's happened when Gammamon's ultimate and Angoramon's ultimate kind of run out of time or overflow on power or something. It's not that. Tedismon is amazing in this fight. It's one of those weeks I wish I could just put the whole battle up on screen, but I know Toei doesn't like that when I show all that animation, so I need to limit what I can show. So all in all, not a game-changing episode of Digimon. However, it did a lot of the things you want to see in Ghost Game. A really disturbing villain plot, the way Shamblemon were just tearing those mushrooms off of people, and how the victims were screaming in pain. It was horrifying. There was a beautifully animated final battle with Tedismon and Kiyoshiro taking the lead, and what is very rare but was very well appreciated, that Ryudamon moment where we flash back to a previous episode and had a situation where a past episode directly impacted the growth of a character this week, with Ryudamon suddenly evolving to save Gammamon. Super interesting first appearance of Ginryumon. Definitely noteworthy that this breakthrough wasn't because of Kiyoshiro or because of the Digivice or Digivice Dual V, but still we're seeing Ryudamon integrate with Kiyo and Jellymon, almost forming a little trio.
Hello, I am a robot now. I forgot to mention this in the video and am too pressed for time to re-record this week. I had another thing to say about the Ryudamon evolution. We have been told in past episodes that Digimon evolve organically and linearly in this series, meaning unlike Gammamon evolving and then reverting, Ryudamon may now be locked into Ginryumon. We did not see him transform back at the end of the episode. Interesting. Is this his new permanent form, or can he go back and forth with the power of the Vital Bracelet? After all, the whole premise of episode 39 was having Gammamon and the Vital Bracelet turning Ginryumon back into Ryudamon, so maybe it is possible? We'll know for sure the next time the show wants to use the character if he appears as Ryudamon or Ginryumon.
The next thing worth discussing this week is all of the Digimon video game news that fans received around October 20th. We learned that 2016's Digimon World Next Order, which up until now was only available on PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4, will be coming to Nintendo Switch and PC in February 2023 as Digimon World Next Order International Edition. This is a game that plays much like Digimon World games on PlayStation, the ones that many Digimon fans grew up with, only with much more recent graphics and more modern game design philosophy. It'll be fully voiced in English, unlike Digimon Survive, for those who prefer hearing English voices while playing, and this international edition will have a few quality of life changes that are a little small but will go a long way. First is a lower game difficulty, beginner mode, and next is the ability for the player character to run, which should help you move faster in the digital world. It's like going from Pokemon Gold and Silver to Ruby Sapphire, where suddenly you get the running shoes. It should be a huge difference. And this is great news as far as I'm concerned. The more games, the merrier. I personally never played this one because I wasn't as much into Digimon at that time and was just out of university, didn't have the money to dish out on games. I had to be a bit selective about what games I could budget for and buy, but from everything I've heard over the years, Digimon fans who've played it, they think it's a great title, especially if you loved the World games on PlayStation growing up. And the Digimon game news didn't stop there though. Digimon Games lead producer Habu-san also reaffirmed that there are multiple Digimon game products in the pipeline, which is something we already knew, but it's the first time we've talked about this since Survive released. So after 4 long years, we're finally in this post-Digimon Survive era, and now we know there is a new Digimon story game on the way, which is something they confirmed at Digimon Con 2022 earlier in the year. We know Digimon World Next Order is being released on Switch and PC in February, and there may even be more on the way, like Digimon New Century perhaps getting an international release. That's the currently China exclusive mobile game that's received a lot of praise from those who have gotten to play it. Let me know what Digimon game project you're most looking forward to, whether it's an announced project or if it's something you're hoping they release. Is it the new story game you want to play, like a Cyber Sleuth spiritual sequel? Is it the Digimon World Next Order re-release you're most stoked for? Or maybe you're hoping one day we get Digimon Survive 2. Let me know in the comments, and of course, tell me what you thought about episode 48. This is still a 48 review and discussion video. One more thing, I'm going to make a top 10 scariest Digimon episodes list for Halloween, and I'd love to get some ideas from you on what the scariest episodes are, not just Ghost Game, but all of Digimon. So if it's not too traumatic, let me know what scarred you most as a kid from Digimon, and if I agree that was a nightmarish episode, then maybe it'll make the list. Okay, now for real, have a great week, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.